There is a terminology which is called ultra-processed foods that we see more in the scientific grounds today, not also scientific grounds, but also into the public and policymakers and citizens overall. And it's a word that I personally think is wrongly used, but I will explain to you why. Processed foods is a word that comes from a classification of foods that are considered to be unprocessed, like fruits and vegetables that you eat raw, to something that you process into ingredients like flour and oil, and then something that you supposedly ultra-process into foods that could be pasta, pizza, baby foods. First of all, the terminology I find wrong because it brings the concept that processing is something ultra or extreme and is sort of bad for your health. And actually this term is used in that sense. This term ultra-processed food is used in that terminology of something wrong or something bad for your health. And that is really what is wrong about it. Really what we are talking is foods that are highly processed, that has a lot of steps in the processing with a lot of ingredients or a lot of additives or a lot of processing steps, which is fine. It's true that there are foods that actually need a lot of processing steps to get there. But I think it's wrong to think they are bad for your health. That's, to me, doesn't make sense. Processing itself is not bad, you need it. What they bring with these terms of ultra processing, they get to say that if you did in a factory it's bad for you, but if you did at home it's sort of good for you. But the processing itself is the same. It's the same ingredients, it's the same processing, so at the end it's the same product. What matters is the nutrients that it has. So how many carbohydrates, so how many sugars it has, how many fat it has, how many vitamins it has. At the end you will have the same. But we see more and more coming from scientific papers and policymakers using this word sort of with negative connotations. And really, not even from the scientific point of view, there is consensus about it. Some scientists have this way of thinking, but there are many scientists, mostly coming from the food science and the area of the knowledge on how foods are processed, which really disagree with the use of that word. I find wrong to use it as a public term when still there is not a scientific consensus about it. I find something that is not right when you start to make it as a policy concept. And you have things like, okay, what is ultra-processed? What foods are ultra-processed? How do you define ultra-processed food and what is the cutoff? I could put many examples, but for me the best is bread. Bread is an ultra-processed food. It has many steps on it, and it's a very staple food that we need in our diet. So really, I don't see why this term is used.